Assalamu alaikum student, this is Dr. Csf Anesthesia 3rd semester, lecture 09, and today our topic is nervous system, brainstem function, cerebrospinal fluid which is CSF, and cerebral circulation which is sinuses and neuromuscular junction. तो आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो नर्वस सिस्टम पे हमने बात करनी है कि उसका ब्रेन स्टेम के फंक्शन क्या होते हैं, CSF फ्लूइड क्या होता है, ट्रैवल किस तरीके से करता है, उसकी सर्कुलेशन किस तरीके से होती है और ब्रेन को कौन सी सर्कुलेशन प्रोवाइड करती है, साइनेप्सिस क्या होते हैं और न्यूरोमस्कुलर जंक्शन क्या होता है। तो एक कोट है कि स्माइल डज नॉट नेसेसरली मीन यू आर हैप्पी, समटाइम इट जस्ट मीन्स यू आर स्ट्रॉन्ग। तो हमेशा हंसा करें। टॉपिक पे आते हैं। ब्रेन स्टेम एक पार्ट होता है ब्रेन का। ब्रेन स्टेम इज पोस्टीरियर पार्ट ऑफ द ब्रेन एंड स्ट्रक्चरली कंटिन्यूअस विद द स्पाइनल कॉर्ड टू स्मॉल। द ब्रेन स्टेम इज एक्सट्रीमली important part of the brain as a nerve connection from the motor and sensory system of the cortex pass through it to communicate with the peripheral nervous system. Then brainstem also play an important role in regulation of cardiac and respiratory functions, consciousness and sleep cycle. The brainstem consists of medulla oblongata, pons and midbrain, including regulation of heartbeat, breathing, sleeping and eating. It also play a role in a conduction all information related from the body of cerebrum to and cerebellum and vice versa must transverse the brainstem. The ascending pathway from the body to brain are sensory pathway including the spinothalamic tract for pain and temperature sensation, etc., fasciculus and gracialis and cuneatus for touch, proprioception and pressure sensation. All of these are derived from these tracts. Descending tract of upper motor neuron descended to synapse and lower motor neurons ventricular horn and intermediate horn to the spinal cord. In addition, upper motor neurons originate in the brainstem, vestibular, retactile and reticular nuclei, which is also distant from the synapse of spinal cord. The brainstem also integrate functions including cardiovascular system control, respiratory control, pain sensitivity control, alertness, awareness and unconsciousness. CSF, Cerebrospinal Fluid, is a clear, colorless body fluid found in the brain and spinal cord. It is produced by the specialized ependymal cells in the coracoid plexus of the ventricle of the brain and absorbed in the arachnoid granulation. There is about 125 ml of CSF, which is MCQ. There is about 25 ml of CSF in any one time and about 500 ml is generated every day, which is also MCQ. CSF acts as a cushion of or buffer. This is also MCQ, providing basic mechanical and immunological protection to the brain inside the skull. CSF also serves a vital function of cerebral regulation of cerebral blood flow. What is function of cerebrospinal fluid? It also provides the hydromechanical protection of the neuroxis to the two mechanisms. First, CSF acts as a shock absorber or cushioning provider, and second, allows the brain and spinal cord to become bioted, reducing the effective weight of the brain from the normal 1500 grams to much lesser than 50 grams. So, what is cerebral circulation? Cerebral circulation is a movement of blood to the network of cerebral arteries and veins supplying the brain. The rate of cerebral blood flow in adult humans is typically 755 milliliter per minute, which is also MCQs, or about 50% of cardiac output, which is also MCQ. Arteries deliver oxygenated blood glucose and other nutrients to the brain. Anterior cerebral circulation. Anterior cerebral circulation is the blood supply to the anterior portion of the brain, including eyes, and supply the following arteries: internal carotid arteries, which is the largest arteries, and medial branches of common carotid arteries, which enter the skull. Upper is the external carotid branches, which supply the facial tissues. Internal carotid artery branches: anterior cerebral artery, anterior communication artery, and middle cerebral artery. What is posterior cerebral circulation? Posterior cerebral circulation is the blood supply to the posterior portion of the brain, including the occipital lobe, cerebellum and brainstem. vertebral arteries, posterior intracerebral artery, basilar artery, anterior inferior cerebral artery, one-time branches, superior cerebellar arteries, posterior cerebral artery, and posterior communicating artery. What is synapse? Synapse is also called neural junction. The site of transmission of electrical impulse between two nerves or between neurons or glands of the muscle cells is called synapse. Synaptic connection between neuron and muscle cell is called neuromuscular junction. What is neuromuscular junction? Neuromuscular junction is also called myoneural junction, site of chemical communication between a nerve fiber and muscle cell. Neuromuscular junction is analogous and synapses between two neurons. Nerve fiber divided into many terminal branches. Each terminal end on the region muscle is called end plate. Then embedded into the end plate are thousands of receptors, which is a long protein molecules from the channel through the membrane, and which are the neurotransmitters acetylcholine, etc. Acetylcholine then binds to the receptor, the channels opens and sodium ion flow into the end plate. This initiates end plate potential and electrical event leads to the contraction of the muscle fiber. Now, अब अगर किसी को मेरे लेक्चर की यहाँ से समझ नहीं आई और वो चाहता है कि मुझे नोट्स मिले तो वो मुझसे इस पर जीमेल करे dr.z.sayyad.733@gmail.com. थैंक यू. अपना ख्याल रखिए. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में आपसे मुलाकात होती है. अल्लाह हाफ़िज़.